Hey, it's Chris with Life 180. I just got done filming this video. This is some of my notes from the conversation in the talk. If you're here and you've heard about the Cashflow Quadrant from Robert Kiyosaki, even if you know what the Cashflow Quadrant is, I'm going to talk about it in a way that you've probably never contemplated before. I'm going to talk about it in a way and how you can create active income, turn that into passive income, and how you can go from one part of the quadrant to the other part as quickly and predictably as possible, and how to position yourself to take advantage for periods of time that we're coming into right now that are more recessionary, take advantage of the market cycles. And so my encouragement to you is make sure you stick around, because I'm going to talk about the Cashflow Quadrant from Robert Kiyosaki in a way that you've probably never heard. Hey, what's going on, Cashflow Hackers? It's Chris with Life 180, and for this video, we're going to be talking about this here, which is Robert Kiyosaki's Cashflow Quadrant and understanding how to think like a one percenter. Now, before I get into any of this, it's really important to understand that the purpose of what I want to cover in this video is the fact that we need to be thinking how to invest for cash flow. Now, I think a lot of people, when I say think like a one percenter, a lot of people are thinking that that is some astronomical number. But the bottom line is, I don't know if you know this or not, for you to be able to be in the top 1% of all income earning households in the United States, it's under $350,000 a year, right? And that's for joint income. So that's top 1%. So when people talk about the one percenters, what we're really talking about is kind of like the top 1%ers of the 1%ers, right? The top 10th of a percenters, if you will, is really what we're looking at kind of evaluating. How do those people think? How do they do things in their life with their money to get the results that they have? How do they build systems? How do they invest their money? What do they do with their money? How have they grown throughout their life to be able to get to where they are right now? And this quadrant, this cash flow quadrant, is phenomenal because it breaks it down into very simple terms. Robert Kiyosaki in his book really broke it down succinctly. It's a great way to tell a story. So what I want to do here is I was going to share the screen, but I'm not going to. So what I want to do here is basically break it down like this. So there's basically two sides of the quadrant that I want everybody to look at here. The cool part is, once again, with the simplicity of it all, this red line divides it. The left side of the quadrant, I'm just going to put blue, you have active income, employee and self-employed. Now, most people, listen, this is a part of the journey. We're always talking about how do we go from one stage to the next, to the next, to the next. And the reality is the goal is ultimately to be over here in the bottom right corner, which is completely passive investment income. Call it mailbox money, call it whatever you want. That can be through a lot of different sources. I'll get there when the time comes, when I get to that point. But the bottom line is you got to go from one to the other, to the other, to the other. Now, almost everybody I know has to start. Unless you start with a very fortunate hand dealt to you, you have to start as an employee in some way, shape, or form. On the left side here, what do we have in common? We have time, right? So we're trading time for money. This whole section, these two things here, you're trading time for money. You're an employee, you go to work, you punch a clock, you're responsible, maybe you work at home at this point in time, but the bottom line is you are trading time for money. You're exchanging your time for a paycheck. You get a paycheck. What you do with that money is going to be important. A lot of people get tired of working for the man, so to speak, and what they do is they go out and they say, well, I'm tired of working. I don't want to be an employee anymore. I want to start my own business. So they come out and they become self-employed. They want to be an entrepreneur. They go out, they start their business, and they think they've made it. They think that's what is going to get them where they want to be. But what they do, if they're anything like what happened to me when I first did that, I went out thinking, man, this is going to be great. Whatever, you end up working twice as much for less guarantees. You're working double time, working 15-hour days, and you're not even guaranteed a paycheck at that point in time, right? And so there's a lot of that comes into it, but the bottom line is on this side of the equation right here, both for employees and for self-employed, you are trading your time for money. The difference is, even though you're self-employed, the problem is you are the core of your business, i.e. that business could not function without you, right? Like, so most people that think they're entrepreneurs are really just self-employed people and they maybe have their own business. They may control their own schedule. They may have that illusion that they think they control their own schedule. But for most people, if they're really being real about it, they don't have a real business. They're self-employed, they have their own company, but if they didn't show up to work, if they wanted to take a vacation, if they got sick, if they became disabled, if they had anything happen to them where they couldn't work, this business and this earned income goes away, right? So the thing with the self-employed and the employee section of this, you have to understand that it's the time component. Now, once again, it's not that they're bad. The beautiful part is as you jump from employee to self-employed, you can then jump from employed to business, because the goal, whenever you become self-employed, you got to start with the end in mind, right? You got to think about what is your exit strategy or what is your growth strategy. Either way, you're either building self-employed to be able to exit, build a business that's dependent on you, but you could exit and sell it to somebody else, and the value you can build in like forced appreciation in the business, so you get the cash flow and you can get a big payoff at the end of it, which is phenomenal. It can be great, but ultimately the best way to go here, I guess it's not the best, it's just another way to go, is to build it and to try to build systems with your business, right? So if you can go from self-employed, from an S to a B, because the only difference is you go from self-employed where everything is dependent on you. Probably when you hit the success that you have, you actually become a business owner and you surround yourself by employees, right? You get a lot of people that will come and they work for you, and you have these employees, and ultimately these people are the system. It's the who, not how, because you already know how over here, so now you need more people to scale your business. Sometimes you can outsource these people. Sometimes they have to be in the United States. Sometimes it's just local. Sometimes it's virtual. It really depends on the business, but the bottom line is, when you have the systems behind the equation and you can put the people into the systems so that business can operate 100% in your absence, that becomes passive income. So right here, where we say on the left side of the equation, we have time is the trade-off for what we're doing. On the right side of the equation, it's totally passive, right? Now, full transparency, you're never going to be a business owner and have it be completely passive. Like Tony Robbins is a great example. He's got over 100 companies doing billions and billions of dollars in revenue every single year. The bottom line is he's a business owner in all those companies. He's got people and systems running his companies. Is it passive? I'll say it's mostly passive, right? He's got the right people in the right place, but to think that he's not really doing anything with it would be a bit deceptive, self-deceptive, right? He is absolutely doing some stuff. So I would say we're utilizing the phrase passive in this from the context of having to put very minimal or marginal time into your business every single month. It allows you to scale, allows you to be out there doing other things, either living the life that you want to live with your family, with freedom, giving back to organizations, charities. Maybe it's putting it into other areas of life, creating more value into other sectors of life that you think are important to you. And that is a great way to go with business. Now, to me, the biggest thing that I love is investing income, is putting ourselves into cash flow investments here, right? So when we look at cash flow investing, this is where we talk about real estate. It can be estate, don't know how to spell apparently. Real estate, it could be dividend paying stocks, right? Stocks, it could be a lot of different things, but these are two of the things that I think are really popular. Real estate could be turnkey, it could be short-term, it could be long-term rentals. There's a lot of different ways to go about it. I like real estate because of the benefits that it offers you in a lot of different ways. You get a lot of tax advantages and benefits in real estate that you don't get in dividend paying stocks. So that's one of the reasons that I do it. But the bottom line is this is completely passive income. We call it mailbox money. We call it a lot of different things. I call it cash flow hacking, right? Like, so utilizing cash flow hacking. And that's why in my book, Cashflow Hacking, I actually do a section talking about how this cash flow quadrant plays in our life. And so when you look at this, this is ultimately where you want to get. You want to take this as active income, right? So here and here are active income. The goal is to get over here to passive income, if you have the business, but you always want to take a portion. The beautiful part is even if you're not the person, because even if you're not the person, I should say, that has the ability, because there's a lot of people, I want to do this color. There's a lot of people over here that don't have the ability to become a business owner, to actually build business systems. You don't have the technical expertise, you don't have the drive, the desire, because to build something like this, not gonna lie, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of drive, it takes a lot of focus, it takes a lot of discipline, it takes the ability to deal with a lot of stress. It does take the ability to have capacity to learn a lot and do that. So not everybody has the ability to do this, right? So that's why I'm not a big fan of necessarily everybody thinking that they can go out and be an entrepreneur, start a business, and go over here. Now, I think everybody should try to a certain extent, but I don't think you should lean on that. The reason I love the investment income side of things is because no matter what you're doing, if you're over here and you're an employee or you're self-employed, you're always gonna have income that's coming from this, right? And as you have income, the goal is to take a portion of this income, pay yourself first, and put it over into areas that you can create passive income out of it, right? So this is the thing. One of the biggest mistakes that people make is they go and invest before they put their money into an area that can prepare them to invest for cash flow. So this is what I want to do real quick. I'm going to show you something that I talk about. I call it my Life 180 pyramid. And it's really important how it relates to the cash. If you've ever read or watched the Cashflow Quadrant book, I would say go get the Cashflow Quadrant book. And I'm going to actually share this screen now because it's a little more detailed here. So as we get into this, you could see here, this is why I think the cash flow quadrant is so important to understand, because the goal is to get over into a place of safety. The goal is to be able to put yourself in a position so you can act like a good investor, right? So you can be in this quadrant. You got to start as an employee, but the goal is to get from the top left of the quadrant to the bottom right of the quadrant. The problem with America is that we have people are not setting themselves up to be able to do so, right? And the only way you do so is by taking your income right here that you're earning from both the employee and self-employed, the active sides of your income, taking a portion of this, paying yourself first, and saving it. A lot of times people go out and they try to invest too soon, right? So this is the problem. If you go out and you invest too soon, I'm just gonna do it in green here, and let's say you start investing when you're young and you start investing up and you're trying to say, okay, when this pyramid is full, when this is full, then I can go and I can, the younger you are, the more risk you can take. That's what a lot of people think. And so they've gone out and they've built this, we'll call this ground, this little teal color here, and they go out and they say, well, I'm gonna invest because I'm young, I'm in my 20s, I'm gonna go and buy crypto and stocks and speculate in these hedge funds. And then the market, though, we know it's cyclical, right? The market is cyclical. So what happens is the market goes up and it comes down, it goes up and it comes down, it goes up and it comes down. And now it's always gonna trend upwards, right? If you look at that, the arrow is going up, but it's these market environments when things crash, when it gets really bad, right? So if you don't have your life structured properly, if you haven't taken a portion of your active income and saved it to get ready for the times to invest in cash flow producing assets at the right time, then it's not going to succeed. So what happens though is people have saved all this money in this cash flow in the high risk areas. So then we have a down cycle, right? We have one of these times right here where the market goes bad. And because the market gets bad, because you haven't saved enough, you don't have any safe money. And the reality is 64% of Americans have less than 2K available in case of emergency, right? So what happens is you have to now, because you didn't save enough money and any money that you did save is right there. What happens is every 10 years or so, your financial world falls over, you have financial crisis. And what happens here is the beautiful part is like when there's opportunity, we have to look at this as opportunistic investors. When the opportunity goes down over here, it goes up for the people over here. And if you do what I'm talking about, and you pay yourself first, and you save money You save money first. That's what you have to do. And I'm a big believer you need 12 to 24 months of income to be able to save. And when you save, you're saving not for the purpose of saving, because you're never going to save your way to wealth. Savers are losers. Robert Kiyosaki says that all the time. You're going to save with the intention of being able to behave like a good investor. And when you do invest in the right time frame, right here, right? But invest for cash flow and invest for passive cash flow producing assets. Now, I know that's a lot of information that I just hit at you. I have another video. It's called the Life 180 Pyramid. If you have any questions about it, I'm gonna put the Life 180 Pyramid at the end of this video in the end screen, so you can click on it, you can watch it. It's a great video. It goes into a much deeper dive into the financial pyramid, how to structure your life, all the different things you need to build in your safety, then how to go to medium risk, high risk, how to structure your life, how to avoid falling into the trap that 95% of Americans fall into, 95% of people in this world fall into. And we have a 40-year period. Think about it this way. If we have 40 years and we know that we're gonna have these boom bust cycles, right? Boom, boom, boom. If you have 40 years, you know there's gonna be 5 or so boom cycles and 5 or so bust cycles. And if we know that that's gonna happen and there's greater opportunity in the bust than the boom, why are we not preparing for those busts? And that's ultimately when we talk about the cash flow quadrant and going from one segment to the other. And if we know that the investment quadrant, the bottom right quadrant of this, is the number one place that you want to be, this is what I'm talking about. You need to start thinking like a 1%er. You need to save so you can actually invest and have investor behavior like a 1%er has. And that's what's going to help you achieve the results that you're after. So if you have any questions, go ahead and comment in the comment section below. Happy to engage with anything you have. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell. That way you're notified every time I launch a new video. Till next time, have a blessed, inspirational day, and we'll talk soon. See ya.